Discipline isn't just the work, it's staying in long enough to see results. That second part right there, that's what nobody talks about. It's because it's something people don't associate with discipline at all. It takes patience. We live in a world that is fundamentally at war with patience. Everything is optimized for speed. 2-day shipping, instant streaming, same day results. We have built an entire civilization around the idea that waiting is a problem to be solved. And we brought that same energy into our health, our training, our personal development. We want that 6-week transformation. We want the fast protocols. We want the optimized plan, the shortcut that gets us there in half the time. And when reality doesn't cooperate, when the scale doesn't move anymore, when the muscle isn't there yet after a month, when the habits still don't feel natural after 30 days, we decide to approach it wrong. We pivot, we restart, we search for something faster. And here's what that cycle is costing you. Every time you reset, you lose your compounding. You go back down to ground zero and you spend the rest of your life doing the first month of every program without ever reaching month 3, month 4, month 5, where the results happen. Patience isn't a personality trait, it's discipline, and it might be the hardest one. I want to tell you a personal story about my process in the journey because I think you need to hear that this is a real struggle. Not something I got perfectly figured out. Early in my transformation, I went through a process of about 8 weeks where I was doing everything right, eating well, sleeping well, training good. But when I looked in the mirror, nothing looked different. Everything was the same. Nobody around me had noticed anything yet. And I remember a specific moment. I was sitting in my car after a good gym session, and I thought, why isn't this happening faster? I'm doing the work. I'm not missing any days. What's wrong? That moment is a test. I didn't know it was a test at that time. But every man who has transformed himself has faced that moment. The moment between your efforts and your results, the moment where the gap between your effort and your visible results feel unfair. What you do in that moment defines everything. Most people use it as permission to quit. I stayed. I stayed. I'm still here. I stayed because I already decided who I was. From week 5, that identity piece that we talked about, I didn't stay motivated. I stayed committed. And about 2 weeks after the car moment, something shifted. My clothes felt a lot more tighter. It fit differently. My lifts at the gym started feeling much better, stronger. The compounding that had been happening invisible for the last couple weeks was starting to show. But I almost didn't see it because I almost quit 10 days before it arrived. Here's what patience actually allows that impatience destroys. Patience allows your muscles to adapt. Hypertrophy, actually muscle growth, happens over months, not weeks. The process of your body recomposition, like your body changing, it's a non-linear process. There are weeks where nothing visible changes and everything biological does. Patience, it's what keeps you long enough for biology to start playing out. Patience allows habits to solidify. A habit doesn't form in 21 days. Research shows that it's closer to 66 days on average. And for complex behavior, it's longer. The man who is patient enough to repeat a behavior past the point where it still feels effortful is the man who eventually doesn't have to think about it anymore. And patience builds something that is hard to quantify, but it is impossible to shake or to fake. Mental stability. The man who has learned to stay when the results are not there yet fundamentally is a different man than the man who shows up only when things feel good. He's unshakable because he's already proved to himself that he can outlast difficulty. Patience separates disciplined people from frustrated ones. Frustrated people are always chasing. Disciplined people are always building. The difference isn't talent, it's timeline. Disciplined people are simply willing to operate longer. Nothing dramatic, just consistency. This is what patience discipline looks like. It doesn't look like aggression. It doesn't look like intense every day. It looks like a man who has made peace with his timeline. He's not in a hurry because he's not going anywhere. This is who he is now. The gym isn't a spirit he's running, it's a practice he's maintaining, like prayer, like study, like any discipline that compounds over time. You don't do it for the single session, you do it for the accumulation. Galatians 6:9 has been on my mind a lot during my own journey. Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Due season, not our season, not the season we planted, due season, the one that comes when the work has matured enough to produce something. You don't rush a harvest. You can only tend to the field and trust the process. The people who win are the ones that stay. Not the most talented, not the most motivated, the ones who are still showing up 6 months in when the people that they started with quit a long time ago. And those people that they started with are already on their fourth beginning with no progress. You're still on your first program, 6 months in, you're reaping your benefits. Be the man who stays. That's the whole thing. Peace.